These AI images and videos were all made inside one single platform, and the people creating them aren't designers or video editors. They just know how to use OpenArt the right way. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact workflow, covering every feature you'll need so you can master this platform and create professional outputs without any prior experience. If you want to follow along, I've left a link for OpenArt in the description below. When you first log into OpenArt, you'll see the homepage with 5 different sections: story, image, video, character, and audio. Story just redirects you to an older version of the app, so the other 4 are what we're going to go through today, starting with image. Click on that and you'll land on the creation page. The first thing you'll notice is the prompt box with the model selector sitting above it. This setting is the single biggest factor in the quality of what you get back. Different models are built for different things, and using the wrong one for what you're trying to make is the fastest way to get a result that looks off. So let me show you the ones worth knowing. NanoBanana 2 is Google's model and is the best one on the platform for realism and precise editing of reference images. Seedream 4.5 is what I reach for when I want something more stylized and artistic, not necessarily focused on realism. And Kling 3 Omni is great for cinematic outputs that don't look AI generated. So let me actually show you the difference. I'm going to type the same prompt into all 3 and let you see what comes back. I'll start with NanoBanana 2, select my aspect ratio and quantity of images. There's also auto polish that refines your prompt for better results, so I suggest leaving this on. Now let's press generate. The rain on the ground looks real, the neon reflections are sharp, and the whole scene feels like an actual photograph someone took that night. That's exactly what NanoBanana 2 is built for. Now I'm going to take that exact same prompt, switch the model over to Seedream 4.5, and generate again. And you can see the difference straight away. The colors are more dramatic, the atmosphere is heavier, and it looks more stylized and realistic. Now let's do the same thing one more time with Kling 3 Omni and see what that gives us. Again, even though it's the same prompt, this one has that cinematic quality to it, and the whole image looks like it could be a still from an actual film. Neither one of these models is better than the other, they just serve different purposes, and knowing which one to use depending on what you're making is what separates professional results from random ones. One more thing worth knowing is that if you want the AI to match a specific style or character look, you can drag a reference image directly into the prompt area and it gets tagged automatically, so you can reference it by name in your prompt. That way, you're not trying to describe every detail from scratch, you just show the AI what you mean. Once you've got a strong image workflow down, the next thing you want to build is a way to reuse your best work across multiple projects without starting over every single time. And that's exactly what the character section is designed for. Back to the main page, click on character, and you'll land on what's essentially your personal asset library inside OpenArt. This is where you build and save characters, objects, backgrounds, and styles that you can pull into any project at any point. Once something is created and saved here, it's available across images and videos without you having to rebuild it from scratch every time. This allows you to have full consistency between generations, which has been a big problem for AI creation. Let's start with creating an actual character, because there are 2 ways to do it and they are useful in different situations. The first is from a text prompt. Click on character, then select describe your character. I want to build a fictional character for a short film, so I'm going to describe him from scratch and paste in my prompt. I'll select NanoBanana Pro as my model and generate. The previews come back and honestly, they look great. The character has exactly the look I described, the lighting has that film quality to it, and it already feels like a real person rather than something obviously AI generated. I'm going to go with this option, name him Duncan, and hit create. He's now saved in my library, and I can pull him into any image or video I make going forward. But creating the character is just the starting point, and this is where the library becomes really useful. Go back into create character, and this time instead of selecting character, choose object. I want to create a prop for my short film concept, so I'm going to upload an image of an old pocket watch. OpenArt takes that image and saves it as a reusable object in my library. I'll name it pocket watch and hit create. Now I'm going to do the same thing for background, which works the same way. I'm going to upload an image of a dimly lit cobblestone alleyway at night that I made. OpenArt takes that image, reads the environment, and saves it so I can drop it into any scene going forward. I'll name it dim alley and save it. And then there's style. This one is really useful if you've found a specific visual aesthetic that you want to keep consistent across your work. I'm going to upload an image that has the exact cinematic color grading and mood I want for this project. OpenArt doesn't copy the image itself, it just takes the general style of it, the tones, the lighting, and the overall look, and saves that as something I can apply to future generations. So now I've got 4 things sitting in my library. I'm going to create an image, open the reference panel, tag all 4 of them, and paste in my prompt. I hit generate, and what comes back is a fully composed scene with my character, my prop, my environment, and my visual style all consistent with each other. That's the kind of result that would normally take hours of trial and error to get right, but here it only took about 2 minutes because everything was already built and saved in one place. Now the second way to create a character is from an image, and this is the better option when you already have a specific face or look you want to work with. I'm going to upload this image of a woman I created with the image generation workflow. OpenArt uses it as the base and builds the character model around it. The reason I prefer this method when I have a reference is consistency. When you're building a series of images or a video with the same character, starting from a real photo gives the AI a much clearer baseline, which means your character stays recognizable across different scenes and angles instead of drifting every time you generate something new. After mastering the characters and world's workflow, the next step is actually bringing them to life. And that's where we'll use the video section, which is where things get to a completely different level. Click on video in the main page and you'll land on the video creation page. The layout looks very similar to the image section with the same prompt box and model selector at the top. There are two main ways to create a video inside OpenArt, and they serve different purposes. The first is text to video. You write a prompt, pick a model, and the AI generates a video from scratch with no reference image. This is great when you want to experiment quickly or create something where you don't need precise control over what the subject looks like. I'm going to show you a quick example. I'll select Kling 3 as my model and write my prompt. I'll set it to 16:9, 5 seconds, 1080p, and hit generate. The result looks really solid. The motion feels natural, the camera tracking works, and for a text-only prompt with no reference image, that's a strong output. But I had zero control over the exact details. That's exactly why image to video is the better option when precision matters. When you start from an image, you're giving the AI a locked starting frame. The character looks exactly how you want them to look, the environment is already set, and all you're doing is telling the AI how to bring it to life. I'm going to take the scene I generated in the character section and use that as my starting frame. I'll select my model. This time I'll choose VO 3.1 because it's great for that cinematic look that matches our image. And now I'll write a prompt describing only the motion. I'll set it to 6 seconds at 1080p and generate. And look at how much more controlled that result is compared to the text-to-video clip. The character is exactly who I built in the character section, the alleyway is exactly the environment I created, and the motion feels intentional rather than random. That's the difference between letting the AI guess and giving it a foundation to work from. Once you've made your first clip, you can take a frame from its ending to become the starting point for a brand new generation. So I'm going to take the last frame of my alleyway clip, where the character has just looked up toward the camera, and extend from there. Now I've got a second clip that picks up exactly where the first one left off, and I've also controlled how it ends. You can keep doing this as many times as you want, which means you're not limited to whatever the AI gives you in one shot. And once your video is done, there's one more piece of the platform that most people never even open, but it's the thing that can take a good video and make it feel completely finished. Back in the main page, click on audio, and you'll see 3 separate features: create voiceover, voice clone, and voice changer. Most people scroll past this section entirely, which is a mistake because these tools are genuinely useful and the quality is a lot better than you'd expect. I'll start with create voiceover. I'm going to write a short narration line for the short film concept we've been building throughout this video and paste it in. Now I need to pick a voice. The voices here run on 11 Labs models, so the quality is actually good, not that flat robotic sound you'd expect from a text-to-speech tool. I'm going to preview a few options. I want something deep, calm, and slightly worn that fits the tone of what we've been building.
Conservatives cherish the echoes of... Imagine you are alone on a cool, dark night.
I'll go with this one here, hit generate, and listen back.
He had been carrying that watch for 11 years, not because it worked. It hadn't worked since the night his father died.
That sounds pretty good. I like how the pacing feels natural, and if I drop that over the alleyway clip we generated in the video section, it would feel like a real short film opening. Now voice clone works differently. Instead of picking from the library, you upload your own audio file, write in your script, and the platform generates that script in the voice of whoever was in the recording. I'm going to upload a short clip of my own voice, paste in the same narration I just used, and generate. He had been carrying that watch for 11 years. Not because it worked. It hadn't worked since the night his father died, but because letting go of it felt like letting go of the last thing that still made sense. What comes back is that exact narration delivered in my voice, with my natural pacing and tone without me having to record it myself. For anyone creating content at volume, that's a serious time saver because you're not sitting down to record every single line. And then there's voice changer, which is the most straightforward of the 3. You upload an existing audio file, select the voice you want to apply to it, and it outputs the same audio with a completely different voice. I'll upload the file from the voice clone earlier, select a different voice from the library, and generate.
He had been carrying that watch for 11 years. Not because it worked. It hadn't worked since the night his father died.
And now that same recording sounds like a completely different person. This is useful when you've already recorded something but want to change how it sounds, whether that's a different accent, a different tone, or a completely different character. Now let's take everything we've created into an editing software. I use CapCut, but you can use whatever you're comfortable with. I'll bring over all my finished clips, arrange them, and add the voiceover we made. Now let's look at our final result.
He had been carrying that watch for 11 years, not because it worked. It hadn't worked since the night his father died, but because letting go of it felt like letting go of the last thing that still made sense.
When you put all 4 of these sections together, that's when OpenArt starts to feel like something genuinely different from every other AI tool out there. And you can do everything without ever leaving the platform. So if you want to start creating at this level, click the link in the description and get started with OpenArt today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.